Atomic Energy Agency. It's not the first time that such a demand has been made. We all know about Pakistan's history with nuclear proliferation and how Abdul Qadir Khan, the so-called father of their nuclear program, had stolen the blueprint of nuclear technology from a Dutch lab. But tell us about how significant that particular statement is, and what do you make of what Mr. Rajnath Singh said in Srinagar a short while ago, sir? Mr. Sareen. We'll try to patch that line once again, but let me also go across to Major General Shashi Asthana, a defense expert, also with us. General Asthana, I did ask a question about the IAEA and the involvement of the IAEA that India has been seeking with respect to scrutinizing Pakistan's nuclear weapons. Mr. Rajnath Singh, in no uncertain terms, also described Pakistan as a rogue state. What do you have to say about those statements made in Srinagar, sir? We'll try to patch that line once again, but in a strong show of solidarity, the Union Defence Minister, Mr. Rajnath Singh, was in Srinagar addressing troops. This, of course, comes after Prime Minister Narendra Modi himself had visited the Adampur air base as well in Punjab, which had been at the receiving end of Pakistani strikes that India successfully managed to thwart. And that was one great show of solidarity, now, of course, being followed up by strong statements coming from the Union Defence Minister, Mr. Rajnath Singh, as well. Let me once again go back to Mr. Sushant Sareen, strategic affairs expert. Mr. Sareen, Rajnath Singh also called for the IAEA to start scrutinizing Pakistan's nuclear weapons. He described Pakistan as a rogue state. What do you have to say about the remarks he made, sir?
Look, I think that's a factual statement. Please remember, Pakistan has been known to be the nuclear Walmart. They not only build their entire systems through Chinese technology handovers, nuclear weapons handovers, but also by stealing technology from the West. And then later on, flogging this technology in the international arms bazaar to various countries, Libya, Iran, a whole lot of other places. So Pakistan has a very, very dubious reputation. They have tried to pretend that they have cleaned up their act and they have secured their nukes, but I think there is, given the kind of fanaticism and fundamentalism that exists in Pakistan army, which is, the emblematic of which is its army chief, who's a complete, very little to choose between him and an ISIS fellow. Right? He has that kind of a mindset. So given the fact what kind of an army they have and what kind of a leadership they have, clearly I think questions and alarm bells should be ringing in the international community on the safety of Pakistan's nukes. Also, I think it's important to add that, they try and operate their entire terror industry under this umbrella of the nuclear shield, which of course has now been busted. But what is important is that the alacrity with which they start threatening a nuclear war, and not just on India. In fact, some of their leaders, including their defense minister Khwaja Asif, has gone on record, including Ishaq Dar, their deputy prime minister, they've gone on record saying that we are not only going to hit India, we are going to make sure nobody else in the world survives. This is the kind of demonic mindset the world will have to deal with in a rogue nation like Pakistan, a terrorist state like Pakistan. And I think what the Raksha Mantri is saying is absolutely on the mark. And I think we need to keep agitating this issue before the international community. Maybe initially not many people will lend an ear to what we are saying, but eventually they'll see the behavior of these Pakistani terrorists and they will wake up to the reality that Pakistan is now a danger, not just to India, but to the entire globe.
Mr. Sareen, I do have a follow-up question as well. Please do stay with us, sir, because we'll play out the bite of Rajnath Singh once again, where he specifically mentioned calling for the IAEA to now intervene and scrutinize Pakistan's nuclear weapons. We'll come back to Mr. Sareen shortly after we play this bite.
साथियों, ऑपरेशन सिंदूर की कामयाबी ने पाकिस्तान में छिपे आतंकी संगठनों और उनके आकाओं को भी यह साफ बता दिया है कि वे कहीं भी अपने आप को महफूज और सुरक्षित न समझें। अब वे हमारे बहादुर भारतीय सेनाओं के निशाने पर हैं। दुनिया जानती है हमारी सेनाओं का निशाना अचूक है और वो जब वो निशाना लगाते हैं तो गिनती करने का काम वह दुश्मनों पर छोड़ देते हैं। साथियों, आज आतंकवाद के खिलाफ भारत की प्रतिज्ञा कितनी कठोर है इसका पता इसी बात से चलता है कि हमने उनके न्यूक्लियर ब्लैकमेल की भी परवाह नहीं की है। पूरी दुनिया ने देखा है कि कैसे गैर जिम्मेदाराना तरीके से पाकिस्तान द्वारा भारत को अनेक बार एटमी धमकियां दी गई हैं। आज श्रीनगर की धरती से मैं पूरी दुनिया के सामने यह सवाल उठाना चाहता हूं कि क्या ऐसे गैर जिम्मेदार और रोग नेशन के हाथों में परमाणु हथियार सुरक्षित हैं? मैं दुनिया के सामने यह सवाल खड़ा करना चाहता हूं। मैं मानता हूं कि पाकिस्तान के एटमी हथियारों को IAEA इंटरनेशनल एटॉमिक एनर्जी एजेंसी की निगरानी में लिया जाना चाहिए। मैं ये कहना चाहूंगा और साफ तौर पर कहना चाहूंगा। साथियों, हमारी सेनाओं हमारी सीमाओं पर अपनी मातृभूमि की रक्षा के लिए जिस तरह से आप
And we also see visuals now on your screen of Mr. Rajnath Singh in the company of the Jammu and Kashmir Chief Minister Omar Abdullah and also the Lieutenant Governor Mr. Manoj Sinha as well, meeting the soldiers there in Srinagar. Those are the visuals that you see on your screen right now. That photo session with the soldiers has now just ended. Let me go back once again to Mr. Sushant Sareen. Mr. Sareen, there was of course a lot of hue and cry when it emerged that Abdul Qadir Khan had in fact smuggled nuclear technology to countries like Libya, and that's when the issue of nuclear proliferation came up, and the IAEA did very briefly get involved. But subsequently we've seen, Mr. Sareen, that Pakistan has managed to leverage its access to nuclear weapons to gain concessions from the international community, much at the expense of India. Now, how does India deal with the situation?
No, I think what India needs to apprise the international community is the threats of nuclear holocaust that the Pakistanis are holding out is not just to India. It is to the rest of the world. We will handle these fellows, we know how to handle these fellows. These cowards, we will handle them. But, the rest of the West also needs to understand the kind of dangers that a rogue state like Pakistan poses, especially if it has, potent nuclear weapons and delivery systems to match them. So I think if we are going to start agitating this issue around the world, we had also gone a little silent on this issue, but I think now the government is displaying a kind of a resolve that they are not going to let go of these Pakistani fellows. We are now internalizing the new doctrines that have been enunciated by the Prime Minister. I think the armed forces are going to be working on operationalizing, not that they're not already operationalized, but probably making those doctrines even more effective going forward.
Sure.
So I think that is where we are at now. And the Raksha Mantri is only enunciating what is the sentiment within the government, and that it's a whole of government and whole of nation approach now. We've seen, how everybody has rallied behind on this issue, on this new doctrine. There might be a few carping sounds as typical apologists of Pakistan who are always strung on a wire.
Correct.
But other than that, I think there is a consensus within India that the kind of blackmail that the Pakistanis have been doing and the kind of murder and mayhem they've been spreading in India is not acceptable anymore.
Absolutely. Thank you very much, Mr. Sareen, for sharing those views with us. Let me also go across to my colleague Yawar now. For more on this, Yawar, you were, of course, there in Srinagar. Tell us about the reception to what the Union Defence Minister, Mr. Rajnath Singh, said. Some very strong words indeed, and another strong message delivered to Pakistan.
Well, exactly. It was a strong message from the defense minister in which he, first praised the armed forces over what the action they have taken against the Pakistan, and it was a strong message that came in from him that we know how to strike and we know how to strike the hard. In fact, he was in the Srinagar and then he met with the soldiers at the Army's 15 Corps headquarters in the Srinagar. He was accompanied by the Chief Minister, he was accompanied by the LG Manoj Sinha. Now remember, Siddharth, this is the first time when the defense minister Minister has arrived Srinagar after the Pahalgam attack has taken place. Though the Home Minister has already visited at that particular day, and he had a security review meeting here, but this was the first in fact, visit of the Defence Minister, particularly in the Srinagar. Now the 15th Corps has its own significance. The soldiers of the 15th Corps has worked relentlessly over the past 22 days, day in and day out, for various operations, and that's when the Defence Minister went there, appreciated their efforts, appreciated their role, and also sent a strong message from the Srinagar across the globe, across the border, that we know how to hit back. Sure. And it was a message from the Defence Minister from the Srinagar that this country
right, Yawar, I just need to interrupt you for a moment. We're also joined by Colonel V.N. Thapar now for his perspective on this. Colonel Thapar, Jai Hind. What do you make of the Union Defence Minister's visit to Srinagar, sir, standing shoulder to shoulder with our soldiers there, and the strong message that he's delivered to Pakistan as well as the international community?
Well, first of all, I would like to say Jai Hind to everyone, and also say that this is a very important visit, because Srinagar is a very forward area, and the same what happened at Adampur by the Prime Minister has been replicated by the Defence Minister in Srinagar. So that is point number one. It is very important for the Defence Minister and the Chief Minister, the Governor, to come and, back up the soldiers and the airmen who have gone through this 4 or 5 days of action against the other very important thing that I think is that he has put the world on the notice.
Correct.
Not Pakistan, but the world on the notice that a rogue state is which is unstable, which has got so many nuclear warheads, much beyond their requirement, and which has a record of earlier doing black marketing in nuclear materials.
Absolutely.
Father Khan, their
A.Q. Khan, yes, and how he smuggled nuclear technology to countries like Libya, stole the nuclear blueprint from a Dutch lab that he was working in. Absolutely. Colonel Thapar, thank you for your perspective. We have to slip into a short break right now, but before we cut into a break, here are some visuals from the Union Defence Minister's visit to Srinagar, and of course the Bharat Mata Ki Jai slogans being chanted by our jawans with him in the company of Omar Abdullah and Lieutenant Governor Singh.